threefold law of life. The English word law in Sanskrit is called as dharma. What is called as law in English, in Sanskrit it is called as dharma. 2. The law, the dharma, is not a human-made law. It is the law that precedes the creation. It is the law that governs the creation. 2 things about the law we have to understand. First one is, it is a dharma means law. Number 2, law is not a human-made law. So it's not a law that is made by human being. It is not a law that can be modified by human being. It has got nothing to do with the human creation. For it is the law that preceded the entire creation. So the law that was existing, that guided the creation, is called as dharma. Once we understand this meaning of dharma, then we understand how it can be called as a law. If we don't understand how it can be, how it was there from the beginning, the word law cannot be understood rightly. Therefore, first thing, in order to understand law, dharma means it was there since the beginning of creation. How can you say that? How can you say it is there from the beginning of the creation? From the beginning, the creation is not a chaos. From the beginning, creation is not a chaos. It is not that creation was chaotic in the beginning. Human beings came, discovered laws, and then brought harmony to the creation. Did it happen like that? Human ego would like to believe that. Our human ego would like to believe that without us, everything is chaotic, and only if I come in, I can bring in an order. So, first thing about dharma, the law is, it is not a human-made, it is not a human-made law. It is the law that was there since the beginning of the creation. Now, you have a choice to understand the law and obey the law, or obey the law even if you don't understand. Again, I repeat. You have a choice now to understand and obey the law, or even if you don't understand, obey the law. But if I don't understand and if I obey the law, what happens? Still you will be protected. That is called a dharma. Just as you need not know the science of gravity to be protected. All that you need to do is follow the natural way of living. You will be protected. The third aspect of law. Law is impartial by nature. The beauty of the law is it is impartial. Impartial because the law wasn't created for a specific individual or for a specific species. It is the law that is created for the entire creation, and the human being is one aspect of the creation. Are you okay till now? For example, I always give this example. If my daughter is falling down from the 27th floor, I have a daughter, 22-year-old she is. If she is falling down from the 27th floor, I am seeing her falling down. I can pray to God and say, please stop gravity for 2 seconds. Just stop gravity for 2 seconds. What will happen? Nothing will happen. My daughter will be safe. God will say, you don't know what you are asking. Gravity will not be stopped even for a split second. Why? Why? If it stops for a split second, the entire creation collapses. Correct. The entire creation will collapse if it is stopped for a split second. But the human ego will like to do what? Let the whole creation wait for? Let the entire creation can wait. In the bargain, what will happen? Not only my daughter will collapse, along with the daughter, the entire thing will fall back. Therefore, the law says, the third aspect of the law, it is impartial. This impartiality of the law is very difficult to digest and accept. The impartiality of the law is very difficult to digest. The impartiality of the law is very difficult to accept. That impartiality of the law is what, in a very loose way, people call it as karma. If you understand the law is impartial, then you will come to a very deep understanding about life. If you understand the impartiality of the law, there is a very deep understanding about life that you will develop. And that deep understanding is the prerequisite for knowing who you are, etc. So, first thing is we have to understand the impartiality of the law. If you understand the impartiality of the law, rephrase it. What is the impartiality of the law? If you rephrase it, it will be very difficult to accept. How can you rephrase it?
The law treats every living being
equally. Means
I don't get what I want.
I don't get what I want. Means I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but then I will be short for that also. But that's okay. There is no such thing called injustice at all in this world. You understand the karma, you understand the dharma, you understand the law, you come to a very deep, penetrative understanding about life. That there is no such thing called injustice at all. Injustice means the law is bent for somebody. Injustice means the law, somebody can violate the law, somebody can bend the law and get away with it. The dharma, the law comes and says very difficult. As I said, it's very difficult to accept this statement. What is the statement? If I say the law is impartial, automatically what I should understand? Automatically what it means? There is no such thing called injustice. No, sir. Up to the previous sentence, it is correct. Up to the previous sentence, what you said makes sense. This conclusion is something it's a wrong conclusion because you don't know life. You have not lived. I don't know where I am living also. Isn't it? All of us are living in the same planet only. There is no such thing called injustice at all. It means what? You understand everything that's happening around you rightly, and you are also thinking about what I can do to help. So, a help working for the welfare of others comes not out of a weakness or inability to stand the suffering of another. You rightly understand. What is the right understanding? There is a law that is functioning at place, and that law guides the creation from the beginning. Did the human womb evolve out of trial and error? Millions of womb was made, and then lot of mistakes happened, and then one German factory came and made a perfect womb and we got it. Did it happen like that? Did it happen like that? No, it was right from the beginning. It means what? There is a law at place there is a law, there is always at place. So a human being's primary obligation is to know there is a law functioning and understand that there is a law functioning and align one's life along with the law. This kind of life is called a spiritual life. Spiritual life means a life that you align yourself with the law. A non-spiritual life, unspiritual life, materialistic life means a life by which these laws are violated. So, first thing that we have to define very clearly is what is meant by the word law. Impartial it is. Impartial means it is not against anybody, it is not favoring anybody. Impartiality is collective welfare. Partiality is particular welfare. Impartiality is collective welfare. Therefore, the first thing that we understand in Vedanta, that's why we say Vedas. Vedanta means the laws of life and living. The way I pronounce the word laws, you will hear it as LOSS. It is LAWS, law, principles. So the is these, why do we, the word law is used because you didn't create it, you are a product of the law. Again I repeat. The human beings are a beneficiary of the law. The human being is not the creator of the law. Again, the human beings are not the creators of the law. The human beings are the beneficiary of the law. Rest of the species versus human species, a difference. Other species has no choice to violate this law. In a way, they are better off because they don't have the freedom at all to violate the law. Only a human being has the freedom. That freedom is what we call as a choice. We say human being has the choice of action. What does the choice of action means? I can align my life with the law, or I can live a life that is violating the law. Very, very important is to understand the impartiality of the law. And impartiality of the law means you understand there is no such thing called injustice. All that is happening is right. No, sir, you open the newspaper, you see this. You see the suffering here, you see the war there, you see the death there, you see somebody getting killed there, you see somebody there. You go to the jungle, you go to the forest. Jungle or forest is battlefield. Correct? It's a battlefield there. Each and everything is trying to survive there. Each and everything is to survive. And what to do for everything has created its own unique method of survival. The flowers bloom so well. This morning we were talking, no? The flowers bloom so well. For us to enjoy that? For us to enjoy that? Huh?
Fruit of the around. So flowers bloom well.
Yes.
For us to have creatures to enjoy the fruit of the around.
For us to enjoy the fruit.
Attract the bees.
Huh?
Attract the bees.
To attract the bees.
Because that's what they do.
That's what they do.
Sounds survival.
Sounds?
Sounds survival.
Its own survival. Correct. Its own survival. Its own survival. When it is stressed, something is changing in the environment. When some environmental changes is happening, it is trying to survive that change. In that fight to survive the change, it comes out with beautiful flowers. That beautiful flowers cycle starts. Something is dependent on that beautiful flower, and that is dependent on something else. The entire harmony is maintained, even though every single thing is there fighting it out, and yet there is a harmony there. That's why we say, even though forest is a battlefield there, Even though jungle is a battlefield there, still there is a harmony. Still the human being goes there and finds some peace. The peace is not because of the fruits, because of the tree, because of anything there. The peace there is because of the harmony. What is the harmony there? None of them there have any possibility to violate the law. Now you come to the human creation, human being. The human being alone has the choice to violate the law. That's why we say human beings have freedom. Freedom means freedom to make mistakes. Freedom means freedom to do the wrong things. Then only it can be called freedom. Other species don't have that. The law protects them so well. It means what? The pack of lions attacks the zebra. The wild lions, they attack. The little one is caught. The mother one comes and fights the packs of lions in order to save the little one. Fights the lions in order to save the little one. Sometimes the mother wins, sometimes the mother loses. The mother doesn't win all the time. The mother doesn't lose all the time. Sometimes the mother wins, sometimes the mother loses. Observe what happens when the mother loses. Observe what happens. There is a law that is functioning that goes into the mother and clips off something which we don't know, and she carries on as though nothing happens. She will be grazing 10 feet away, 20 feet away, she will be grazing where the little one is torn open and eaten by the others. Nothing happens. Do you know that? Nothing happens. No stress happens to them. No worry. Why? There is a law that is functioning, which we don't understand. At what point it interferes and disconnects? Because the same mother, 1 minute before was ready to risk her life to save the little one. Rest of the lifetime it should be in trauma, no? Of losing the little one, how the mother should be for the rest of the life. She should be in extreme pain and trauma. Nothing happens there. Why? The law interferes and disconnects something. In the case of a human being, we have to disconnect. Again, in the case of a human being, we have to make an effort consciously and disconnect. When I make an effort consciously and disconnect, that is freedom. Rest of the species don't have that possibility at all. Why? Nature takes care of it. Another example. You know how the mother eagle helps the little ones, no? Have you seen those videos? Beautiful they are. The little ones born doesn't know the nest is at the edge of the cliff. Doesn't know that they are perched right at the edge of the cliff. Every day the mother comes and the little ones are fed in the mouth. Suddenly one day the mother decides. Now who taught the mother this is the day? I don't know. In the Indian context we will say, I don't know which calendar she consulted, which horoscope man she consulted and decided from today. Who decides that? It's Ascharya, wonderment they say. Who decides that it should happen? There is a law that functions. Suddenly one day the mother decides, that's it. Enough of feeding in the mouth. So what she does, she brings the food and she is staying 2 feet away from the nest, dangling. No? The little ones are hungry and they are confused. They are hungry and they are confused. Why? Why is the strange behavior of the mother today when every day it is fed in the mouth? Why? And they are screaming in hunger and pain. Unmoved mother. The mother doesn't say, enough training for today, we will start again tomorrow. She doesn't say that. Unmoved she is. And out of anger and irritation and frustration, the little one pops up. The little one, because they're so hungry, the little one pops out of the nest out of hunger. She comes closer and the mother takes a bold step. She goes one step back. The little one is taking one step towards the mother goes one step back. And the poor thing doesn't know what's going to happen. It gets closer to the mother, she doesn't feel. In a split second, she opens her wings and pushes the little one off the cliff. And the one goes somersault. 2-3 somersaults. Suddenly the wings wide open, in flies the other way. It doesn't even come back to say thank you, mom. No Father's Day, no Mother's Day. Nothing happens there. She doesn't even come back to say thank you, mom. Nor the mother will sit and cry. How much I took care. Doesn't even, why can't I? At least you could have said one thank you and went, In the other species, there is a beautiful harmony because there is a law that is functioning at place. Therefore, there may be a struggle for survival, but there is no mental trauma. Again, it differentiates. There is a struggle for survival. Everything is struggling for survival, but nobody goes through mental trauma. Now come to the human beings. My food is reserved. For the next 3 weeks, I have enough food. What 3 weeks? For the 6 months, my food is there. Nothing is going to happen to that. And yet, there is a tremendous mental trauma. So, the question that Vedanta starts with, the study of the law, the study of dharma comes in here. Logically speaking, other species should be traumatized. Isn't it? Logically speaking, who should be in trauma? Except human beings, all other species must be in trauma. And conversely, what is the truth? Only the human beings are in trauma. The reason is what? Why? Is the inquiry of Vedas. And then they came with the beautiful study analysis, etc. I wish I can go into the full details, but I cannot go into the full details because then I need a 5-day format. And Craig said 46 hours. No, I can't do anything more than this. They found out what is the cause for mental trauma. We live life in such a way, we disturb the harmony, the dharma. So the violation of dharma is the cause for mental trauma. Therefore, it becomes very important for the human being to do what now? Forget about obeying. First we need to understand. First we have to understand there is a law, and then we need to understand the law. And when you want to understand the law, there will be lot of doubts will come. Lot of questions will come, lots of doubts will come because
It's not what you can do.
yesterday, what you see is not what it is. If what you see is what it is, then there is no need for questioning at all. What you see is what it is, you have understood it straight away. But what you see is not what it is. Therefore, you have to question. Therefore, you have to do a lot of things. Thanks so much. It is so real. Thanks so much. It's very important to understand the law. I started by saying, even if you don't understand the law and still obey the law, the trauma will be less. So therefore, what is the training? In the initial stages in life, they will be told, there is this law, obey the law. Some says, some says, explain it to me. There is a system of knowledge that explains. Some says, no, I don't want all this explanation and all. Simply tell me what to do, what not to do. Therefore, the knowledge is of two types. Therefore, the very knowledge itself is of two types. One type of knowledge is advisory. Another type of knowledge is educating. The knowledge itself does dual role. One type of thing is advisory. Another is educating. In this classroom, we are not focused on the advisory part, we are focusing on the educational part. Like for example, what is the difference between advisory and educating? You have a disease, you go to the doctor gives you a prescription. Is that education or advice? It's an advice. Follow the prescription, you will be healthy. So one type of education that the Vedas does is that. One type of education is advice. Do this, don't do this, follow the prescription. The same doctor, if he sits and explains the source of the disease, how to diagnose, what to do, what not to do, if the same doctor sits and elaborates everything, that doctor is teaching. So the Vedas does two jobs. It advises and it also teaches. Some are comfortable with the advisory part, some are comfortable with the teaching part. In this classroom, what are we focusing on? We want to focus on the teaching aspect a lot. What is the teaching aspect a lot? It starts with dharma, harmony. Dharma means law. Law means law not in the sense of do's and don'ts as in human law. Law as in the sense of harmony. And then it goes on to say that inner harmony is your true nature. So dharma, harmony is your original nature, is your true nature. That's where the example is given. What is the dharma of fire? Heat. What is the dharma of ice? To be cold. Similarly, what is the nature, what is the dharma of a human being? A dharma of a human being is, number one, the individual self doesn't exist, what we call as selflessness. So what is the nature of a human being should be? Selfless, a permanent upsurge of compassion. That's the nature of a human being. That's the dharma of a human being. Two things. One is no selflessness. No selflessness means selfishness. Second is a permanent upsurge of compassion. That permanent upsurge of compassion is what in Bhagavad Gita he calls as Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha means working for the welfare of the others. In Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna, why do you think I am acting? You all have a reason to do actions, he says. You have a reason to act. You all know the Bhagavad Gita battlefield around that. I am not getting into those stories. Every one of us here knows them. Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, you have a reason to fight. Duryodhana has a reason to fight. Why do you think I am fighting? Why do you think I am here? Loka Sangraham Evapi. This is only for the welfare of the Loka Sangraha. Now you can work for the Loka Sangraha when there is a permanent upsurge of compassion. It should be so much 24/7 in you that you have a different qualitative existence. Are you okay till now?
Which is that last bit? Say that again, the last bit. You have a qualitative existence because of Loka Sangraha.
Yes, because of no selfishness and a constant upsurge of compassion. It's not that you have no selfishness and you are sitting in one corner in silence, not doing anything. There is the no selfishness, at the same time you are constantly in action. From this we derive a principle. What is the principle? Dharma is the source of inexhaustible energy, inexhaustible vitality. From this we derive. This whole everything we derive with that. Therefore, dharma becomes the third source of inexhaustible energy, inexhaustible vitality. Even if the physical body cannot cooperate because of other reasons, you are still having that inexhaustible source of energy. The body may not cooperate at some point in time because the natural state of the body is to get at some point of time. It's a natural state of the body is to get worn out. The body getting worn out will not take away your inexhaustible vitality and energy. Why? That's where dharma comes in. So dharma is that which taps the inexhaustible source of vitality, energy. In order to explain that, we take a very common sense example. In order to explain what is this, a common sense example. What is a common sense example? All human beings have 3 layers of energies. We all have 3 layers. All human being has 3 layers of energy. The first one is what we do on our day-to-day activities, which is needed for our day-to-day activity, which get exhausted by the end of the day. It will get exhausted. The first layer of energy. The first layer of energy is what we do for our it's a very thin layer of energy. What we do for our everyday activities. What are everyday activities? To go to the office, to take care of the wife, to take care of the children, to do all the social, all that is a very thin layer of energy. You do it, you make use of it, you get exhausted by the end of the day. You get tired by the end of the day. Then comes the second layer, the deeper layer. Energy that is meant for emergencies. The second layer, meant for an emergency. For example, you come home very tired. Really, you are tired. So tired that you don't even have energy to remove the shoes off. Go to bed with the shoes on, because that tired you are, and truly you are that tired. You are not faking it, you are not imagining it. Truly that you are that tired. You lie down, you see the corner of the house in fire. What happens? You will not say, I am tired, let the house gets burnt, I don't care. You will not do that. The second layer of energy, which is meant for emergencies, gets activated. Look at the creation. Dharma, it is so beautiful, it is created. It gets activated. And then you do that. Like for example, when the dog is chasing, the person jumps over definitely I will jump over the fence. Under normal circumstances, I will not even climb 2 steps. Now the dog is chasing, I jump over the fence. So the second layer of energy. The first layer of energy is what is there on a day-to-day basis. Second is what is meant for an emergency. Then comes the third one, which is what we all want. Which is what we are all trying to aspire for, which is what we should be having access to. What is it? That third layer is what we call as Purnam, the cosmic layer. That inexhaustible source of energy, that inexhaustible vitality. So inexhaustible it is that you are in complete harmony. When you are, and that's where nowadays they say you are in the zone. No, what zone? You are in the zone, you will come back very soon, isn't it? You get into a zone and you don't come back. Yadgatva nivartante tadama paramam mama, he says in the Bhagavad Gita. Once you get to that source, you should not regress. You should not come back. In most of the things that we do, we go to a zone and then we regress. We come back. We go and then we keep slipping. We keep slipping. And every time we keep slipping, it is far more frustrating, because you know how much you have to do to get back. Dharma. The Vedas, the Dharma, the Vedanta comes and says, there is the third source of energy. What to do to get that now? What to do to get that now? You cannot make it happen. The energy is already there. You make yourself available to receive it. You don't do anything to create it. It is there. That is there already. You need to do something so that you are available to it. That availability to it is called the preparation. What is the preparation? The preparation of understanding of what dharma means, what law means, and at any point of time, my focus will be on is my choices in line with dharma or not? Is my choices in line with dharma or not? In the initial stages, you have to make a lot of effort. You have to make a lot of effort to remember that. After a period of time, it becomes part of your system so much that you need not worry at all. Only in the initial stages, it will be a bit difficult. Yes. When I started driving for the first time, I sat in the driver's seat to learn driving. And I learned driving when everybody should be retired from driving. First time I learned driving was in my mid-30s. Told you should drive, you should drive. Sad. The instructor told me, relax. You are not carrying the car on your shoulders. You are not carrying the car on your shoulders. Relax. So what do you mean relax? The first time I am sitting in the driver's, even now if I get a chance, I will not want to sit in the driver's seat. So the first few days, you go on the clear road, the road is 100 feet wide. Any car that is coming in the front looks like it's going to hit on you. You don't know whether to look on to see the road or to see the brake and press it. All this confusion happens in the initial stages of practice. After a while, what happens? Now, car is almost like the second office, isn't it? The car is almost like the second office. You go into the car, you put it on, some calls are happening, you are finishing the call, you are doing the calls, you are driving and not hitting on, you are not running over anybody. Because it has become so much part of your life. So this dharma, making the choices, being aware, is my choices in line with dharma. In the initial stages, it's always a bit tough, complicated, but doesn't matter. Very soon it becomes part of our everyday life. The moment it becomes part of our everyday life, there is a very good level of evolution that has happened. There is a very good level of inner growth that has happened. And then how to make yourself available for this? Up to the story of inexhaustible source of energy, etc. Stories and all is very good. Nice to hear, the story is good. Now the question is, we also said you can do something and make yourself available to it. How do you make yourself available to it? That's where the lot of the preparatory practices comes in. Therefore, the first thing that we have to understand in relation to the topic of this morning is dharma means a law. A law means, is it for your welfare or is it there to punish you? Law is meant for what? Law is always preventive. Law means it's preventive. When I don't do the right thing, it punishes. So the law is law preventive or punitive, punishing? Law is always primarily preventive. Why the law has to be made? Why the law is needed? Why this education on law for a human being is important? As I said, other species don't have this problem because nature interferes and keep disconnecting it. Like for example, take the same example from the wild. a huge buffalo, the wild buffalo is brought down by a tiger, by a group of lions. You know, it can only eat 40% of that. It can't eat more than 40% of that. So, if you see the chain there, everybody is waiting. The hyenas are waiting, the foxes are waiting, the wolves are waiting, the vultures are waiting, the ants are waiting. In a matter of 3 days, it's wiped clean. There is a harmony. In the case of a human being, the violation of harmony happens. Are you able to understand the distinction? Now, where does the problem comes? The problem comes here. I'll explain now. Human beings, as a society, we need to live in groups. Again, I repeat. Humans, everything lives in groups. All species has to live in a group, because only if you live as a group, you can survive. So, humans as a society will necessarily be groups. Problem starts now only. Group means necessarily what all goes into a group. What all necessarily forms an integral part of the group? Distinctions, hierarchies, duties, responsibilities, obligations, privileges, rewards, punishment. All this is part of the group. Again and again. Group means it necessarily has to have these things. What are all the things a group needs to have necessarily? First thing, distinctions. There has to be distinction. Then only we all can cooperate and take care of ourselves. If everybody in a group is doing the same thing, who's going to do the rest and take care? Therefore, the first important aspect of the group is distinctions. Differences. Distinction means differences. Second important aspect of the group is hierarchies. You cannot escape these factors. Distinctions will be there. Hierarchies will be there. Duties will be there. Responsibilities will be there. Along with all these comes privileges. Along with all this comes a privilege. Along with privilege comes rewards and punishments. So, a human being, dharmic life means understanding the law of life, means having a clarity on all these things. But the human ego, what does the human ego do? The moment the hierarchies and distinctions comes, the human mind starts interpreting as inferior and superior. You cannot avoid hierarchies. You cannot avoid distinctions. How do you say that? If all the 5 fingers is of the same size, you can't lift anything. You know that, no? In order to lift something, the 5 fingers must be of 5 different shapes. If all is of same size, you cannot do anything. Therefore, it is an essential part of creation where distinctions do exist. Hierarchies do exist. Duties do exist. When all this you do rightly, you get some privileges also. You get certain privileges. Distinct and different from all this is the punishment. Very important is to understand this. Is differences a natural law or human made? Is differences in creation human made or natural? Natural. Is complexes human made or natural? Superiority and inferiority. That is human made. That is human made. Differences is natural. Again, differences is natural. Remember so Swamiji keeps saying this all the time. He says, I understand. Chicken also flies, pigeon also flies, eagle also flies. When I heard it for the first time in one of the informal talks in Chennai when I was planning to join the course, he said, remember, it's very simple. What are you complicating? Because according to him, I complicate everything by being mathematics. That's why he calls me, you are a pandit, you are a scholar. I said, what to do now? What are you talking? What are you doing? Because he was asking me, what have you studied? Now I am trying to show off what all I have. I am trying to show off what all I have studied. So, chicken also flies. Pigeon also flies. Eagle also flies. I came back thinking, wow. But teaching means it should be like this. No. Teaching should happen in that manner. Where it is so, from that time I started this thing. How to make it everything like this. In informal talks with him, you get a lot of these things. In a formal classroom, very little of that. In an informal context, you keep getting a lot of this. So it means differences is a natural law. Differences, nature is not being impartial. We have said that already. There is no such thing called impartial. There is no such thing called injustice. All that we have covered already. Now differences, we accept and understand it as a natural phenomena of life. But where comes the problem? The problem is when one feels superior or when others starts feeling inferior. That is why we say the so-called ordinary human being and the so-called spiritual human being both are same. The spiritual person is also the same, ordinary person is also the same. Why? Both are victim of the same complex. The sinner is suffering unnecessarily from guilt. The saint is suffering from ego, that I am holier than you. Again, a sinner is suffering unnecessarily because of guilt. One complex. The saint is also of the same state. What is the same state? He has a superior. What is the superior? I am holier than thou. Dharma comes and says, no. This complexes is human made. Because this complexes is human made, you need to get rid of the complexes. You can't get rid of the differences. Again I repeat. You have to get rid of the complexes, but you can't get rid of the differences. For if you try to get rid of the differences, you are creating an imbalance in nature. The creation cannot survive. There will be disharmony in the entire creation will collapse. Therefore, to access that inexhaustible source of energy, the vitality, blah blah stories that we gave, the first method is what? Differences are natural. It is human beings' non-understanding of it created the complexes. Now, what should human being do? We should try and get rid of the complexes rather than getting rid of the differences itself. If you get rid of the differences itself, what will happen? Creation cannot survive. Creation cannot exist. How? Because if creation is like the thing, if you remove one car, the entire thing will collapse. Like, okay, see this brick structure here. It's a perfect harmony. When can we say it is in perfect harmony? When you, from any part of the place, you remove one brick, the whole lot will collapse. It means everything is so interconnected to each other. How do you get rid of the complexes? When you understand the interdependency of life. Again, the complexes are a human being is free from complexes when interdependency is understood. Remember 3 words. dependent, independent, interdependent. Again repeat. Dependent, independent, interdependent. The reality of life is interdependence. Again, the reality of life is interdependence, which they knew so much in the past. That's why the Veda says you should not cut the trees. When you are cutting the trees, you are cutting your own oxygen supply, because you are you are so much interdependent on everything. Now, when the human being goes on interfering with the notion that I am superior and independent, no, as long as you are in life and living, you are interdependent. Recognizing that interdependency brings about a cooperative endeavor. Again, recognizing the interdependency will result in bringing in the cooperative endeavor, because you know everybody has to do their part, everybody has to do a bit. Only when everybody is doing their part and bits, the whole thing is maintained. The human made in the law, it is very important. In the law, it's very important to understand it's not a human made law. Human made law means there is a flexibility. A group of people can sit and decide and say, we don't. A group of people can sit and decide and say, we don't agree to this. We don't like it. We don't agree to this. It doesn't make any sense at all. Change it. All this freedom you have where? Only in a human made law. That's why I always say, you cannot have a world court. All the best judges from different parts of the country sitting together and say, we don't believe in dharma. So we have eliminated dharma. Will it change? Whether you agree, you disagree, you accept, you don't accept, it is the law that shapes your life. Therefore, it is very important for a human being to understand what is this law is. There are a huge, I would say, it's not you don't have to read volumes and volumes and volumes to know what these principles are, what these laws are. More and more elaboration you want, more and more explanation you want, more and more books becomes available. But everything boils down to a law. And it's very important to understand this law. One of the simplest law, and I conclude this session. You can't love a person fully, you can't hate a person fully. You cannot be honored fully, you cannot be dishonored fully. It's a law. Again. You cannot love a person fully. You cannot hate a person fully. You cannot be honored fully, you cannot be dishonored fully. This is the law. You understand this emotional maturity comes. Okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? I'll give an explanation, it becomes easy. Stories, examples, makes it easy. When Einstein was given the Nobel Prize, was he given the Nobel Prize because he is the best father, the best husband, the best son, the best citizen? He is honored for what? When you are honored, you will be honored only for a particular aspect. Similarly, when you are dishonored, again another particular aspect only. Therefore, the law says you cannot hate anybody fully, you cannot love anybody fully. You cannot honor anybody fully. You cannot dishonor anybody fully. It always depends upon a particular aspect. Okay, what is the need to understand it like this? When you understand it like this, what goes out? You understand this law, what goes out? The complexes goes out. Because I am a Nobel Prize winner, I will not start telling everybody how to parent, how to do this, who is the right doctor, who is the wrong doctor, who is the right guru, who is the wrong guru, all because I got one Nobel Prize because I knew some part of chemistry well. This is what happens You follow what I am saying? It's a very beautiful law. You cannot honor anybody fully. You cannot dishonor anybody fully. You cannot love anybody fully. You cannot hate anybody. If you love somebody, some part in that person is very appealing and present. That's why psychology says it's not love and hate, it's love hate. They call it hate love, love hate. Love hate, hate love. Because both will be present always. One you see, the other you don't see. So what is the understanding of life now? When somebody is honoring you, you understand what some good I have done, I am honored. Not that Arvindan as a human being in all aspects is honored. When I am dishonored, I understand. Somewhere I have irritated, hurt. Therefore, I am being dishonored. A very simple law, not difficult to practice also, because all that it requires is an understanding. There is another law. If you ask me for the list, I have a huge list. Unfortunately, I am not going to give everything today. Otherwise, next year, Fleur will not invite me. Please don't punish me next year. Punishment is the walking this morning. Knees is gone, back is gone, everything is gone. I'm only thinking I should come back and take the flight home. I wasn't interested in the retreat. I wasn't interested in anything. I just want to. My daughter, my wife is there. No. You follow? Simple law. They are not complicated at all. All that it requires is some penetrative understanding. Penetrative understanding means the courage to drop the conditionings. Penetrative understanding comes when you have the courage to let go of the conditionings. Intellect means that which has the courage to drop the conditionings. Mind cannot let go of the conditionings. Mind will be comfortable only with the conditionings. Intellect means the courage to drop the conditioning. And how will you drop the conditionings? Only by questioning it. You go on questioning to an extent where like peeling onions it should become. You peel and peel and peel. Ultimately, you will not be left with. Ultimately, what will be there? There will be nothing. Meaning, the ignorance that we started yesterday. The fundamental disease, the primary disease of the human being is ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of these laws. The moment you understand this as law, there is a mental stability, there is the peace, there is the calm. That peace, that calmness makes you more penetrative. You can end up asking more penetrative questions. What is the more penetrative question that you can ask after that? Who am I? Who am I? This question itself will look silly to the vast majority because you know who you are. You can ask, how can I become better? But to ask, who am I? how can I become better? Both are two diametrically opposite questions. You understand that, no? Who am I is different from asking, how can I become better? Better, best. It doesn't happen like that. Better, it doesn't work like that. Or best, better, I don't know how it works. The entire purpose of all these discussions, the law, the understanding, the following the law, everything is to bring a calmness to that mind. That calm mind is the prerequisite to ask this question: Who am I? In the book Yoga Vasishtha, it is a very authoritative book on Vedanta. There are a few authoritative books on Vedanta. One book is Yoga Vasishtha. Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, which takes 10 years to complete. Yoga Vasishtha has some 28,000 and odd verses.
Yeah.
By the time you read it once, lifetime is one of the beautiful books on Vedanta. Ramatirtha talks about it, Ramana talks, beautiful book on Vedanta, Yoga Vasishtha. Yoga, in that Vasishtha is the teacher, Rama is the student. Rama, the Lord Rama, who has become so Rama is the student and Vasishtha is the teacher. It's called Yoga Vasishtha. In that book, Yoga Vasishtha, Vasishtha was having a retreat with Lord Rama and a group of his students. In the middle of the night, somebody was knocking on Vasishtha's door. Somebody is knocking on Vasishtha's door. Vasishtha is asking, who's there knocking? Who's there knocking? Rama replies, I am knocking only to find out who I am. Come out now. Something you said in the retreat and you are sleeping peacefully. I am not able to sleep. He goes and knocks him in the middle of the night and wakes him up. Give me the answer. Who? What I am not, you have taken away. What I am, you have not given to me. You have told me all that I am not, you have told me. Then, who am I? Vasishtha says, that you don't worry. It will reveal. It will reveal itself to you. Because the true nature is not a product of doing. The true nature is the product of revelation, becoming, understanding. There is no doing there. You don't do it because the ultimate is not an experience. Only if you understand the ultimate as an experience, you want to do something to get an experience of the ultimate. Remember yesterday we spoke about all human beings are experience hunters. So we want the ultimate also as an experience. Vedanta comes in this, ultimate is not an experience. You do all these preparatory practices, it reveals itself. That revelation is called enlightenment. What happened to Gautam Buddha under that? What happened to Gautam Buddha under that tree? Millions have gone to that place after Buddha. I have also gone quite a few times. No Buddha came out of that place except him. What is the difference? He did all the preparation and he was so relaxed that he could wait for it to reveal. He was in a hurry for it to reveal. He was in a hurry to experience the ultimate. The Veda says, how can the ultimate be an experience? If the ultimate is an experience, all experience has a beginning and an end. There cannot be a permanent experience. For a experience to be permanent, the experiencer has to be permanent. Are you able to follow the logic? For an experience to be permanent, the experiencer has to be permanent. And what is the dharma of the experiencer? What is the dharma of the experiencer? The law of the experiencer. The dharma, the law of the experiencer is constantly changing. Remember, he said, the person who walked into the lecture is not the person who is walking out. Therefore, a ever-changing experiencer cannot have a permanent experience. Therefore, the ultimate is not an experience. So never try to experience, never try to hallucinate the ultimate as an experience. All that you do is what? Understand the law, live life according to the law, which is the preparation, the truth reveals. So in Vedanta, we don't try to experience the highest. Whereas everybody else wants to experience the highest. How to experience? How to experience? Vedanta asks, who's asking this question? If you want to experience permanency, first you become permanent. Can you become permanent? How much ever you try, the body, mind, intellect instrument will be. How much ever you try, it will change. Not only the body, mind, intellect keeps changing, everything around you also will keep changing. Therefore, the dharma is at the relative level, change is the dharma. At the relative plane, change equals dharma. That's why in the culture, when there is death and all, we will not worry so much about death. When there is a death, why worry about it so much? Why make a big cry about it? It's not because it is so much of a natural thing. It's not that we are happy the fellow has died. That is being very selfish. But there is the courage to accept change as the fact of life. Now, when you accept change as the fact of life, how can there be a permanent experience of the highest? Who's going to experience that? For which Vedanta says that you need not worry. It will reveal itself. It will reveal itself. Last example and I conclude. Ramatirtha gives this example, not my example, this is example. Upanishad gives a different example, Ramatirtha gives a different example. The example that Ramatirtha gives is this. The woman has become pregnant for the first time in her life. She doesn't know what pregnancy, she has not seen any of it, and she has become pregnant for the first time in her life. 8th month into pregnancy, she is tired and feeling sleepy a lot. So one day, she tells the mother, in case when I am sleeping, if my child is born, wake me up. I want to see the child being born. What did the mother say? Don't worry, go to sleep. When the moment comes, you will be awake, you will keep the whole town awake. You don't worry about it. Ramatirtha's example. Upanishad gives a different, the Upanishad gives a beautiful example. What is the Upanishad example? By what light the sunlight is seen. Yajnavalkya, the husband, is teaching this to Maitreyi, the wife. Beautiful conversation between husband and wife. It's called Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There, the wife is asking, how will I know it? Because you are giving such a beautiful discourse and say it can't be experienced, all the instruments are gone, then how will I? For which Yajnavalkya answers by asking a different question. The question that he asks is, by what light the sunlight is seen, Maitreyi? By what light you see the sunlight? You don't take a torchlight to see the sunlight. The sun reveals itself and it reveals everything around it clearly. That's why all religions worship sun a lot. It's very symbolic. What is the symbolic? What is the symbolism of the sun? Two things it does. It reveals itself and it reveals everything around also. Which is the ultimate state of the knowing the who am I. To get there is a preparation that is required. And for the preparation to happen rightly, the law must be understood. For the preparation to happen rightly, understanding of the law is very important. Ishwati? With this, we take a break now.